Welcome to the Enigma Daily. Going in right now. Hold on one second here. I might have a small error over here. Let me take a look what I got here. Test 1 2 1 2. Test 1 1 1. Now we're good. Sorry about that. Welcome to the Wednesday edition of the Enigma Daily. And guys, to follow up, we're going to piggyback on what we were talking about yesterday. We were talking about how the CIA just updated a dump they did in 2017 for some declassified files. And how that works is that due to the Freedom of Information Act lawsuits that they get hit with a lot, they have to dump files every now and then or release this information. And they don't release it. They do release it. They just don't advertise the release. And when they release new stuff, they just add it into an archive they've already dumped. So yesterday we were talking about psychic abilities, but also within that same dump that they did, the CIA released other files talking about how they tried to weaponize paranormal activities, ghosts, demons, spirits, etc., etc. The link of that is in the description of the video. I've already put it up yesterday. I'm not going to throw it up again today. So, but basically, I'm going to give it to you real quick in a quick 8-minute live here on what went down. So, in 1970, they started this program called, the CIA started a program called Stargate. And they were using it to investigate psychic spies, contacting UFOs, and weaponizing the paranormal activity. They brought witches and satanic priests on the staff at the CIA to try to summon poltergeists and summon demons. You can go look this up. To weaponize and, fight against our enemies. Now, what was crazy about that is that when you go and you read the files on what they were doing, they actually came at a highly scientific level when they were documenting what they were experiencing and what they were witnessing. And to fast forward, spoiler alert, they were successful. And they never release anything that they deem that can come back and haunt them down the road. So I can only imagine what they're doing now. And these programs never go away. They just get renamed and refunded, renamed and refunded like that, right? So this was a piggyback or a branch. They call it a branch off from Operation Stargate. And what they wanted to do, what they did is when they were doing their remote viewing sessions, they noticed that there was things that were only that were visible to the remote viewers, but not to the naked eye, the physical eye, the spirit world. They were looking into the spirit world. And one of the quotes I'm going to read here was what they said. They encountered several unexplained electromagnetic disruptions observed in tandem with psychic sessions. That's end quote. And that's basically, in layman's term, paranormal investigation. They were noticing things that didn't make sense that were going on to them, right? And Netflix has actually dropped I don't recommend watching Netflix at all. It's a horrible company, but there is a series on there called True Haunting, where they're exploring real world encounters and investigating the CIA's, some of their activities in a veiled way, not without coming out and directly naming them. Now, if you know anything about how these people operate, they believe due to karmic retribution that they have to tell everybody what they're doing, and if you accept it, it's on you, which is a backwards form of, of thinking, and you reap what you sow. But these people are not Christians or any religious whatever. They worship evil, period. So now, according to the CIA and several Department of Defense and private researchers are the witches and the warlocks and the satanic priests that they brought on and hired to do this stuff. What they were doing is that they were noticing poltergeist-like activity during their remote viewing sessions. And they came to a very scientific determination of what was going on. And they said that the pattern of localized disturbances linked to emotional energy discharge. And a lot of people within the paranormal field will tell you that hauntings aren't hauntings. What it is that something so terrible happened there. There was so much emotional stress. There was so much, violence that took place that it basically imprinted an energy signature on that area. And what you're actually seeing is like a loop. Now, not all paranormal, events are like this. There are some demon activities or something like that, things that, interact with it. But when you go to places like Gettysburg, which is like one of the top 3 most haunted places on the planet, so much violence and death and negative energy was put out during that battle. It left an imprint on the land. Same thing if you go into South Carolina. You go down to South Carolina, there's something about South Carolina that's just, there's darkness in the land. I can't stand going through South Carolina. I hate it. I don't know why, man. I have to drive through it occasionally, the whole entire state. I don't enjoy visiting it at all. Something is just off about that state. I won't go to Gettysburg. So what they're saying is that when someone experiences something so tragic or something so terrible, a burst of energy takes place out of it, an imprint that takes place out of it. And when that imprint takes place, it stays with that area. So when you go into a house and the house has a negative energy to it, or it has like a negative feel to it, or if you know something that keeps reoccurring in that house, it's actually not a intelligent haunting. It's just a memory loop. That was what that was their number one conclusion of what they came up with during their research on what these paranormal, activities were, to a degree. They also went on to say about 80% of all the paranormal stuff they encountered or they researched or they looked at was just what they would call, again, localized disturbances linked to emotional energy discharge is what they called it, right? Something terrible happened there. Massive dump of negative emotions took over, slammed it into the area, and the area is cooked, right? However, they did say that 20% of what they looked at were legitimate sentient spirits, or they refer to it a lot as energy, right? Intelligent forms of energy that they were dealing with, aka poltergeist, aka demons, aka something in the spirit world that remains unseen to us. However, when they remote viewed these things, they could see it. So that was, I found, to be very interesting. And it doesn't really go on to say what they tried to do with these potentially intelligent, energy sources, is what it says. I literally just verbatim copied that and read that. It doesn't say what they try to do with it. However, you best believe they went on and they try to do something with it, or they're still doing something with it right now. It goes into the whole theory of the 200 fallen angels that are down here right now in spirit form, how our government worships them, interacts with them. They really are still in charge. All this kind of stuff that goes with it. And they spent billions of dollars doing this research, billions of dollars to do this research since as early as the 1970s. It's 100% still going on. We're looking at 55 years worth of this type of research. And it's only getting more and more and more, prevalent when the truth pours out, especially when you look into CERN, how they say they've opened portals down there. And what they're trying to do is they're trying to open a portal to permanently bring these beings over into the physical realm. It'll never happen because, the Bible will tell you that Archangel Michael is the restrainer of this world. And he keeps the evil at bay. And during the tribulations, he is removed. The restrainer is removed. That's the only thing that's allowed these things to come through. But you do have occasional bleed through every now and then in small cases on it. Now, so just add this feather into your hat that, our governments and probably other governments around the world will look at anything and everything they possibly can to try to turn it into a weapon and use it against you. That's just how it is. And they'll say you're enemies, but it's totally not, man. They say that, I don't know if you've ever seen the series Stranger Things. They talk about how that's more of a documentary than it's a fairy tale. Who knows? But either way, these things are real. Everything you've been told about in your whole entire life, about your whole entire history, everything you were told in school was a lie. Just think of it this way. Your gym teacher was fat and your business teacher didn't have his own business, right? So just think about that right now and you'll understand exactly why your education that you paid hundreds of thousands of dollars for is actually trash, right? So, you know how we do around here. This is the sister channel of the Ancient Enigma Files. If you're interested in our long form content, you want to dig into that, man, go back to the landing page. It'll be right there at the highlighted channel at the top. Go over there, give us a subscribe, jump in. If you've got any paranormal stories that you would like to share, anything that you would like to add to this conversation, drop it in the comments. I will read it. We are a brand new channel. We are trying to grow. We are slowly making progress. So if you could do us a favor, The subscribe button, we need to get to at least 1,000 subscribers. So if you give us a subscribe, that would be great. Give us a thumbs up if you like the content. And if you didn't like what you see, give it a thumbs down. But if you give it a thumbs down, just let me know why in the comments so that we can read that and we can make it better and that we can improve, right? So it doesn't cost you anything. It's free, but it helps us out immensely. So the format is quick, 8, 10, 15-minute live videos Monday through Friday. Basically, this is my morning show. And thank you for that. So I will see you guys tomorrow, and we're out.
Subscribe now and turn on the notifications to join us on this extraordinary journey into the unknown.